when I was working with the Pentecostal women, I never showed them what I was writing. They never asked to see it. And I made a wrong assumption that they didn't care what I wrote or that they wouldn't read what I wrote. But the main participant in my study, who's on the cover of a book that's titled Handmaids of the Lord, hurt her back one summer, and she was in traction, so she's lying flat on her back, and I sent her a copy of the book, already published, and she read it from cover to cover, and she started writing me letters that summer, and they would start out very sweet, Dear Elaine, I miss you so much, and I hope you're well, and I just want you to know I love you. However, I've been reading your book, and I think you're really wrong, and here's why. And there'd be pages of how I had misrepresented her, or I remember there was a chapter where oftentimes in their sermons they talked about making it into heaven, that they knew, even though they were breaking the rules by being in the pulpit, they knew they would make it into heaven. So I wrote a chapter that said they were worried about making it into heaven based on the fact that they preached about it all the time. And she said, that is absolutely not true. I totally believe I'm going to make it into heaven, even though I'm breaking the rules. So I got maybe 10 or 12 letters that summer, basically telling me all the things that she disagreed with. I almost said that I got wrong, but I think as a field researcher, you have to also trust your instincts. You have to say, I was thinking, I'm still right, but she's right too. I mean, she has an opinion and it's really different from mine, but it made me think about the methodology that we use. We go, anthropologists go out and find tribes that nobody's ever worked with. I went out and worked with groups that nobody else had worked with, but we don't show them what we've written, and we don't have a dialogue with them about that. I've never advocated that they censor our work, but what I argued, I started writing articles about the possibility of something called reciprocal ethnography, which would mean that if we write a chapter or an article or a book, that we share it, every word, with the participants in the study, and we include the dialogue about what we've written in the book or the article. And that gets really complicated. And I had to convince publishers that this was worthwhile. They wanted my conclusions. They didn't want the dialogue with the participants. And I had to argue for that. I had to argue why it was important for the dialogue to be there. But there was a crisis in anthropology and folklore during the 80s and the early 90s that we should not speak for people, that we should allow their voices to be heard. And so this was my attention to that problem.